In the previous video, I talked about Vladimir Putin and the kinds of cycles he's going through and how that might reflect upon the Ukraine situation. Here I'm bringing in Joe Biden because we're in a kind of standoff where Putin wants to do something that Biden clearly doesn't want him to do for all kinds of reasons. And if you look at their respective charts, as I said about Putin, there are some good angles in there, good aspects, but then you can see that as time passes, the situation gets more difficult. When you look at Biden's, it's almost the reverse. First of all, you see that Biden's Mars position is very close to where Putin's Venus is, which tells you that shortly, within days, Jupiter trines first Putin's and then Biden's. This suggests that, in a sense, both get something that they want. However, as time passes, the Jupiter continues moving into later degrees of Pisces, which are not particularly helpful to Putin. In fact, they're a problem because as it gets deeper into the sign, it's making quincunxes to the Libra planets. But in the case of Biden, it's trining his planets in sequence. Mars, then Mercury, then the Sun, then Venus. And you can see where Biden is outflanking him in that what Biden has done with this is strengthened alliances and relationships, meaning NATO, the European countries, etc. And you can see that this is an innate part of Biden's skill because you look at his seventh sign, Gemini, ruled by Mercury, trining Jupiter. Therefore, he has this skill. He's had it his whole life. This is actually not a secret. He was known to be very crafty throughout his years in the Senate, making relationships and receiving all kinds of assistance from his colleagues, actually on both sides of the aisle, including people like Lindsey Graham, who at one point complimented Biden as being a great person until he lost his mind, doing Trumpism. But you can see that the seventh sign is very strong by way of the Jupiter trine to Mercury, which rules that house. And then you notice that Biden's Neptune in the 11th is further confirmation of relational skill through association with groups, which in this case comprises countries, something like NATO, right? And Neptune trines the Saturn and Uranus in the 7th house, signaling a very strong ability to make these kinds of relations. And then you can see that Jupiter and Neptune are both moving in a direction where the Scorpio planets in Biden's chart are getting a lot of support. This is telling you that as time passes, Biden's position strengthens, whereas Putin's, for reasons that I explained in the previous video, weakens. So if you look at this through the lens of the passage of time, and you realize that wars are extremely complicated, and the odds that Putin and the Russians can go into Ukraine and in a matter of a week or two solve the whole problem, take over and carry on from there, the odds of that are extremely low. It's a lot more likely that whatever he does, he is then forced to deal with the consequences, what follows after that, which tends to get complicated. And this is where you need the good aspects to support you. And this is what he doesn't have, whereas Biden does have them, most especially by leveraging the power of partnering and relating in his chart, relationships. Confirmation of this can be found in the fact that Barack Obama made him vice president. He made him his partner. This is the strength of Biden's chart. At the time, he was second in command. Now he's the president, and he's using his skills to create alliances, to create partnerships. The other thing is, if you want to add further information that is supportive of Biden's position, it would be through the progress position of his moon. The progress position of the moon is something that astrologers will most often use in the progressed system. And isn't it amazing to see it in the late degrees of Pisces, soon to make trines to his Venus and to his Sun. And when it goes into Aries after that, in the months afterward, it will be going toward a trine to his ninth sign Pluto, which is where foreign affairs happen to be, which again is strong confirmation that in that realm he's on the right track. So all of this tells me that in this situation, the Ukraine conflict, Biden has a lot to gain and Putin has a lot to lose.